All right, today we are totally ditching the hype. We're going to take a rigorously data-driven look at what the next 6 years of artificial intelligence actually look like. We're breaking down the physical engine driving this technology, the real-world impact it's going to have on our lives by 2030, and the absolutely crucial guardrails we are scrambling to build to keep the whole thing on track. So if you want a clear, structured roadmap to the near future, you are in exactly the right place.
But right off the bat, we've got to ask ourselves a pretty massive question. Are we actually ready for 2030? Are we prepared for AI's pervasive integration into our daily urban lives? And this isn't just some philosophical thought experiment. It's the core question driving the Harvard AI 100 study, which is this massive ongoing project forecasting exactly how AI will reshape North American cities over the coming decades. The stakes here are incredibly high, and the changes, they're coming fast.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this Epoch AI data, it's essentially the cheat code to understanding the future. Notice the really clear, undeniable trend here. When you track the exponential increases in training compute, which is basically the sheer processing power we're throwing at these models, the benchmark accuracy just steadily, predictably climbs right alongside it. Whether we're looking at PhD-level science questions or highly complex reasoning, the data proves that as compute scales up, AI capabilities reliably follow suit. It is quite literally a fundamental scaling law.
Let's move into Section 1, Driving the AI Engine, Scaling Compute and Data. To wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this engine, honestly, just follow the money. By 2030, the global AI market is projected to hit a staggering $1.8 trillion. We are seeing absolutely unprecedented investments pouring in from governments, major corporations, and academic institutions worldwide. All of this capital is the massive fuel source that actually makes the compute scaling we just talked about physically possible.
And because of all that cash, this whole just keep scaling reality is absolutely going to define the next few years. Exponential growth will likely continue right up to 2030 across training compute, data collection, and physical hardware. We're talking about massive AI clusters being built right now as we speak. Plus, we're seeing the rise of neuromorphic computing, which is hardware that literally mimics the structure and efficiency of the human brain so it can process data in complex, real-world environments in real time. The engine is running hotter and faster than it ever has before.
Which brings us to Section 2, Unpredictable Advanced AI, Sudden Shocks After Relative Stability. Drawing straight from the UK government's 2030 scenario forecasts, they've mapped out a few really distinct potential futures. One scenario, titled Unpredictable Advanced AI, envisions a relatively calm mid-2020s, but then followed by sudden major disruptions as these highly capable frontier models are suddenly deployed globally. Then there's a contrasting scenario. AI disrupts the workforce. This one envisions rampant automation. So soaring productivity, yes, but met with severe societal pushback. Keeping a completely neutral lens on this, these government forecasts show us that while the technological marvels are practically guaranteed, exactly how society is going to absorb them is highly, highly uncertain.
All right, Section 3, Workforce Disruption and Automation, the dual reality of the 2030 economy.
This transformation we're talking about spans the entire economy. We aren't just looking at autonomous freight transforming physical blue-collar logistics networks. We're equally looking at AI admin teams automating repetitive, white-collar cognitive work, things like accounting, HR, and IT. Really, no sector is entirely insulated from this. The substitution is happening across the board.
And all of this creates what we can basically call the AI economy paradox. On paper, productivity skyrockets. Businesses become incredibly efficient, which leads to cheaper goods for everyday consumers and much higher tax revenues for governments. And hey, if you're building or owning these systems, your wages are going to surge. But simultaneously, we're looking at significant wage declines and massive job losses in those automated sectors, which leads to rising risks of poverty and severe income inequality. It's this really complex economic restructuring where the macro benefits just don't neatly align with the micro realities of everyday workers.
And look, the natural result of a paradox like that, it's friction. The sources point out that increased unemployment and wage inequality could seriously erode social cohesion. If a large segment of people feel marginalized by this technology, we could see rampant backlash. We're talking protests, industrial action, and a really fierce public debate about the fundamental future of human labor itself.
Now for Section 4, Transforming Education and Cities, Moving from Static Spaces to Intelligent Ecosystems.
Amidst all this disruption, it's absolutely crucial to remember the optimistic potential here. Peter Stone, who is the chair of the Harvard AI 100 report, states,
We believe specialized AI applications will become both increasingly common and more useful by 2030, improving our economy and quality of life. This pervasive AI genuinely has the power to dramatically improve our city infrastructure, revolutionize healthcare with highly intelligent medical devices, and provide vital, scalable support to low-resource communities.
We're going to see this profoundly in education, which is set to evolve through 3 key stages. First, generative AI will instantly create dynamic, completely personalized learning materials tailored exactly to what an individual student needs. Second, AI is going to power AR and VR simulations for hands-on immersive practice. And third, AI will handle the repetitive administrative support and grading. Yep, that means no more weekend Scantron grading for teachers. And the big takeaway here is that schools evolve from fixed, rigid curricula into adaptive ecosystems, fundamentally freeing up human educators to focus purely on what they do best: empathy, mentorship, and guidance.
Finally, Section 5, the Ethical Governance Challenge, building the guardrails for 2030. Because of all this rapid change, we're currently witnessing a frantic global race to build ethical frameworks, mainly because every single sector has its own unique vulnerabilities. The financial sector has to figure out algorithmic accountability and complex stress testing. Education has to vigorously protect student privacy and ensure equitable access across the board. And the tech sector itself, they're wrestling with these massive foundation models, desperately trying to curb the generation of misinformation and prevent biases, like the glaring ones we've already seen in older AI recruitment tools. Now, to actually enforce those guardrails, the regulatory landscape is shifting fast. A prime example of this is the European Union's AI Act. This isn't just a set of polite, loose guidelines. It's a hard regulatory framework that establishes strict, risk-based categories. If a company is out there building a high-risk AI application, they are now legally mandated to meet specific safety, transparency, and compliance requirements. It's essentially the current blueprint for how governments are trying to mandate accountability today. But of course, regulation has to keep up with the tech, and there are some massive hurdles emerging as we sprint toward 2030. For one, we have to figure out how to handle the dual-use risks of foundation models. These are systems that can be used for immense good, but also for profound harm. We've got to resolve the massive, tangled copyright concerns regarding generative outputs. Also, as AI moves directly to our mobile devices and the edge, monitoring these highly distributed systems becomes incredibly complex. And crucially, our frameworks just cannot be entirely Western-centric. We desperately need cross-cultural, inclusive, and truly global collaboration. So, bringing it all together, as we look at the hard data, the relentless scaling laws, the complex economic paradoxes, and these massive governance challenges, we are left with one really fundamental question. By 2030, are we building AI that enhances humanity or simply automates it? The technology is already arriving. The engine is fully built. Now it's completely up to us to steer it. I hope this explainer gave you a clear, structured view of the path ahead. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next one.